Boo! Happy Get Goodoween. I bet you didn't expect that. What I didn't expect was for From Software to not only be able to creep me out, but also make me jump right out of my skin. These games have a knack for keeping you on edge and therefore primed for a good startle. As you can see, I've brought my trusty dexterity weapon in case something creepy shows up, and I've got my trick-or-treat bucket in case anybody wants to hand out some goodies. All I've gotten so far was a prism stone. But I'm still super pumped, so crack open a blood vial and break out the candy corn because it's Halloween and I'm counting down my picks for the top 10 jump scares in From Software games. But before proceeding with the countdown, let's talk about the honorable mentions. A great way to set up a good jump scare is to have something sitting still that moves when you don't expect it to happen. And there just happens to be a very specific room in Aldea's Keep that does this.
Oh my God!
The first time I came into this room, I was actually stupid enough to think that dragon was for decoration only. As soon as his head started turning, I get nervous still coming back. Ah, dungeons. Ever since the Tower of Latria on Demon Souls, From Software has proven that they are the masters of creating super creepy levels. And when they decided to make the Irithyll dungeon in Dark Souls 3, they kicked it up a notch by not just having creepy jokers like this guy, they also decided to put some jump scares in here. This time the jump scare isn't from something you see, it's from something you hear. And just randomly exploring the Irithyll dungeon, you will all of a sudden jump out of your seat when a shriek slices through the musty dungeon air and just totally throws you off your game. I salute you, Miyazaki. Very well done. Speaking of Dark Souls 3, if you talk to Grandpa in the cleansing chapel next to the altar, he whisks you away to a magical land of snow. The Painted World in the original Dark Souls is one of my favorite levels in the game. But after Dark Souls 2, I'm not as fond of snow anymore. But it's alright, baby, because Dark Souls 3 is here to rectify that mistake, and the Painted World of Ariandel is even better than Ariamis, even though it's a little less cute. Here you'll find many terrifying creatures, but only one managed to make me throw my controller all the way through my ceiling. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get on top of your house without a ladder? Anyway, so let's talk about these tree ladies. So I couldn't help but notice when I first entered the DLC of Dark Souls 3, a couple of the trees look a little different from the other ones. But if you walk up to them, you notice that they don't move or do anything. In fact, you can't even attack them. And herein lies the brilliance of this jump scare, because the next time you run into the trees, they will grab you and you will find out that it is extremely easy to get to first base with the tree ladies of Ariandel. Just make sure that at some point during the date you apologize for screaming and excuse yourself to change your underwear. Pound for pound, the spookiest game that From Software has ever made, Bloodborne has a shocking moment that I'm pretty sure none of us will ever forget. When you get to the Forbidden Woods, which is a very simple and straightforward level that nobody would ever get lost in, you eventually come up to a house, which appears to be mostly empty, except for one guy. Now this guy is special because he marks a turn in the narrative of Bloodborne. and even after taking so much as a single hit from you, he will appear to get a really bad headache, and then his head explodes and a shitload of snakes pop out of his neck. If you're like me and you're scared to death of snakes, then I don't blame you if you had to clean yourself up after this moment. And I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really that scared of snakes. I used to have recurring nightmares about being trapped in a house full of snakes. Needless to say, Bloodborne got me really good with this one. The very large snake head can grab you and hold you and do damage over time like a constrictor, and then the smaller heads will bite you and inflict poison. Good shit. So to recap, I have poop in my pants, I don't know what's going on, and I'm dead. Well played, Michael Zaki. If there's one thing that I appreciate in a FromSoftware game, it is those brief moments of relaxation. You know what I'm talking about, like those periods of time after you kill the boss. But of course, when you kill the boss of the Undead Parish, the gargoyles, you get to go up and even ring the bell and trigger a cool cutscene, right? But then when you come back down, something is different. And that something is Oswald of Kareem, quite possibly one of the creepiest NPCs to ever appear in a video game. This also creates a very unique jump scare in which, instead of something happening to me, I kind of rushed on down the ladder into him and it caught me off guard. It's all good, my man. I still love you, even if you are a creepy asshole. And now, boys and girls, it's time to bring on the real jump scares. Number 10. What's the one thing in a Soulsborne game that gives you more comfort than anything else? Smo's chest? Demon booty? Priscilla's feet? Well, yes, but I was specifically thinking about bonfires. But in Dark Souls 2, after a certain patch, Aldia, the Scholar of the First Sin, was added into the game as a boss. After lighting your final primal bonfire, Aldia would actually emerge from the bonfire to speak spooky Dark Soul shit at you.
No one has come this far for a very long while. Your Honor, do you wish to share this curse?
But Aldia is not going to show up subtly like the grandpa from Troll 2. No, he's got to bust onto the scene like a f***ing pro wrestler, causing a massive explosion, knocking you right on your ass. This scared the crap out of me the first time it happened. Quite a sin indeed. Number 9. On my first playthrough of Elden Ring, I remember somebody in the chat telling me that we were going to go to Caria Manor and then Nightmare Fuel. Okay. And I just kind of laughed it off. But oh my God, I was not ready for this.
Longer.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh my God! What the fuck? What is this? It looks like somebody took the mutagen from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and poured it onto Thing. These hands are enormous, disgusting, and have entirely too many fingers. And it's bad enough that they make a beeline straight to your ass as soon as they see you. There's actually some out there in the courtyard that are under the ground and all you can see are their little fingernails sticking up out of the dirt. But you know, because you're scared as shit, you're running away from them really fast and you're not gonna see that. So then you're gonna run over them and they're gonna get you.
Oh, dude, I saw the fingers. I saw them and they grabbed me before I could react.
These scary ass things show up in many locations in the lands between, but nothing can match that first time you encounter them in Caria Manor. Number 8. As you can see, the FromSoftware gaming library is just rich with jump scares. And the very first one that I have burned into my brain is my maiden trip to the Valley of Drakes. And upon seeing that pile of treasure next to the corpse of a rotting dragon, I knew I had to have it all. If you pick up the right piece first, nothing happens. But then, when you pick up the next piece, really did not expect that. So now I'm dead and my nerves are shot. Number 7. I hope you're not scared of spiders, because we're about to talk about a real nasty one. There are 2 specific instances where I recall being jump scared by this guy, and both are situations where you are trapped in the corner. The first one is found in the Cathedral of the Deep when you go into a room with nothing in it, and then this happens. The second one is when you're all the way up to Anne Orlando, and then, lucky you, you found the shortcut to open up the giant door. But who's there to greet you? Getting jump scared by one of the most horrifying things in the entire From Software catalog, whew, is traumatizing. Number 6. The next one is a jump scare that occurs all throughout Dark Souls 3. Aren't we lucky? In another instance of seeing something that appears to be dead, coming to life and just scaring the ever-loving shit out of you. The cage spider, or as I like to call it, the cage with all the dudes in it, just sits there. But then, when you come up to the wrong one, oh God, it is so f***ing scary. The first time these guys scared the crap out of me, it was of course in the Undead Settlement. But From Software thought that, you know, Irithyll Dungeon wasn't scary enough, so they also put these guys here. Appreciate you. Number 5. What could be more unassuming than a simple hollow? Exactly. That's why one of the best jump scares in Dark Souls 3 shows up when a giant maggot Kawato jumps out of his stomach and grabs you, causing you to urinate all over the dungeon. As a bonus, you encounter these guys super early in the level, so you are on the edge of your seat for the entire area. Good. Number 4. This entry is going to belong to an entire group. And that's because ever since the first time I played Demon's Souls, dragons, as big as they are, somehow have the ability to sneak up on you and scare the ass out of you. Whether you're talking about that first dragon in 1-2 of Demon's Souls, the one that shows up at the beginning of Dark Souls, talking about Calamite jumping on the bridge, you're talking about the ancient dragon in Dark Souls 3, and God knows how many of them in Elden Ring that just land on you when you least expect it. From Software wants you to know that dragons are the Jason Voorhees of their game series, and no matter where you are, they will just pop out of nowhere to get you. Number 3. By a show of hands, how many of you were surprised that something spooky happened in a level full of spooky skeletons? Yes, as one would imagine, the Catacombs of Carthus, while being home to one of the silliest things in the entire game, a ball of skeletons, it is also home to quite the startle. To set the scene for this jump scare, we enter a room that seems pretty inconspicuous by Dark Souls standards. That is, except for that suspicious looking goblet in the center of the room. Should I touch this thing? Too late, I'm doing it. Whoa, 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 shit, I was just kidding.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Holy crap, you guys, that was so frackin' scary. Seriously, on my first playthrough, my skeleton jumped out of my body. Number 2. Always being concerned with holding a high standard for quality. From Software made sure that the best jump scare in Bloodborne was not relegated to a single area. You can rest assured that during your Bloodborne playthrough, werewolves will be popping in through windows. Werewolves will be busting through doors on the streets. At any time, they can get you. These giant furry beasts may not be the most disturbing things you see in Bloodborne, but when it comes to jump scares, they go harder than anybody else. And the number one From Software jump scare is those giant Cyclops hippopotamus ogres from Dark Souls 2. You know what? That's too much. Let's just call them hip ogres. While these guys just tend to roam around freely throughout Dark Souls 2, in Aldia's Keep, they specialize in jump scaring the piss out of you.
Oh my god, what the
Much like how the Mimic in Dark Souls 1 teaches you to be wary of every treasure chest you find, the hip ogres in Aldia's Keep will make you nervous about ever opening a door again.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes you can see them through the tiny holes through the door, and sometimes you can't see them at all. And I just cannot deal with these guys. Whenever I'm playing Dark Souls 2, the whole neighborhood knows it because they can hear me screaming down the street. Sometimes people like to joke that my gray hairs came from my children, but if you've ever played Dark Souls 2, you know where they came from. They came from the hip ogres. See this, Miyazaki? This is your fault. Ooh, boy, that was a lot of fun. We're all nice and full of trauma, and you know, From Software, you guys scare me like nobody else. I love you. There's nothing like a good scare to make you really feel alive. You know what I mean? Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to get notified when the next one goes up. It's Halloween, but we're not just sharing candy. Share the video with one of your buddies if you think they'd like it. And finally, it is time to acknowledge all of my beautiful, charming, and intelligent supporters. When my last countdown went up, I had 2 members on the channel, and since then we have ballooned up to 20. I am completely blown away, you guys. In order, we have Last Bulbasaur, Ludwig, and this name is in kanji, so I thank you, but I do not know how to read kanji, but I love you. Zexy Gummy Bear, Guinea Piglet, Sir Sieg, Theremin Electro, Patrick Ripley III, Ethan Tennell, Des the Great One, Nuke San, Dark Eater Madeir, Hughie, Uncertainly, I figured it out, Telemrack, Death Metal Pokemon Fan, Robco17, Magonator, Alec Bryan, I'll figure it out. And our newest member, Lorian Elder Prince. Thank you all so much. You have a great day. You are the channel of the backbone. Thank you all so much. I hope you all enjoy your day. Y'all are the backbone of this channel.
Oh, God. Oh.